Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, we welcome you at the IslamiCity's live series on commemorating the martyrdom of Imam Hussein in the first 10 days of Muharram, with a special focus on the oppressed communities of the world. From July 30th, we have been covering communities such as the Dalits in India, enslavement of Africa, the indigenous tribes of Latin America, and natives in the United States, apartheid in South Africa, Palestinians in the occupied land, and the persecution that the Jews went through in their history. And the purpose of this exercise, this journey, is to remind ourselves that there is an example for all of us, not just for Muslims, that the oppression should not be accepted and should not be tolerated. And if it comes to giving one's life for the cause of fighting the oppression, then one should not hesitate. And that is the message that comes from the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. That as human beings, as Muslims, it is our responsibility and it is our obligation to stand for the oppressed people, no matter what their faith is, no matter what their religion is, no matter what their ethnicity is. Recently identified ethnic community that has been suffering the oppression is the Uyghurs in China. And to discuss about the plight of Uyghurs and the persecution that they have been going through, we have two very distinguished Uyghur activists. One of them is Dr. Erkin Sidik, and the other is Abdul Muttalib Khan. Both of them have devoted their life to raise the cause and to make people aware of the situation in China about the Uyghur Muslims. And they have been a strong advocate of justice, strong advocate of peace, a strong advocate of equality, a strong advocate of the dignity and respect for Uyghurs and for all those who believe in their right of self-determination. Dr. Erkin Sidik was born in the city of Aksu in East Turkestan, which is the Uyghurs Autonomous Region. It is located in the northwest part of China. Dr. Sidik earned his master's degree in physics in May 1990 from California State University, Northridge, and his PhD degree in electrical engineering in 1995 from the University of California, Davis in Northern California. He joined NASA Jet Lab, California Institute of Technology in January 2004. He is currently working as a Senior Optical Engineer on various space telescope projects. He has authored and co-authored 108 publications and has 3 patents. He also wrote several hundred articles on Uyghur language and bilingual education, child education, leadership, religion, Western education system, and published those articles in Uyghur websites in East Turkestan until all the Uyghur websites were closed down in early 2017. Dr. Sidik compiled 15 books. He printed 7 of them and distributed them for free as a charity and as making people aware of the situation in China. He published the remaining 8 books in PDF form starting from early 2018, and he spends most of the time he's not in his lab giving lectures in the US and around the world on the current Uyghur tragedies and Chinese government's genocide of Uyghurs in both Uyghur language and in English. In June 2019, he founded Uyghur Project Foundation, a non-profit organization registered in the United States with a group of Uyghur professionals to preserve the language, the culture, and the Uyghur ethnic identity among the Uyghurs in diaspora. UPF has been very active and funded many projects, and since 2018, Dr. Sidik has also been serving as the senior advisor of the World Uyghur Congress. He would be the main speaker, and with him is Brother Abdul Muttalib Huban, who has been actively involved in raising the awareness about Uyghurs in various campuses and in various communities in Southern California. We really feel honored that these two icons of Uyghur communities who have devoted their time and their resources to raise awareness about their community. So without any further delay, I would now request Dr. Sidik. So please, Dr. Sidik, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for your generous introduction. I really appreciate that. Before I start what I want to say, I just want to mention briefly about my true background. One is, as I was mentioned, I was an engineer, so I work with numbers. I always pay attention to numbers. Second is I have very high credibility both at home and abroad among Uyghur community. So I have been serving as an information hub for the Uyghur community around the world. So I know a lot of information, direct information that I obtained back home. The problem between Uyghurs and the CCP regime started right after the CCP occupied Uyghur homeland, East Turkestan, in 1949. China worked very hard to assimilate the Uyghur, make Uyghur disappear that way, but they failed. One strong means that Uyghur kept Uyghur alive is the religion, Islamic religion. And so China realized that in 2018, Xi Jinping came to power. He became the supreme leader of China. And in 2014, he made a master plan to eradicate the Uyghurs. I got some information from a very high level source, not directly, but through a middleman, that in 2014, Xi Jinping held a very high level meeting for about 10 plus people, less than 20 people. And in that meeting, he said he will eradicate the Uyghur, he will extinguish the Uyghur. His plan is to kill 1/3, assimilate 1/3, and convert the remaining 1/3 into automatons, or to people who are the same as the people living in the Middle Ages. This is Xi Jinping's plan in 2014. And the execution of this plan intensified in 2017. Actually, if you look carefully about some on some research reports, you will notice that building of the concentration camps in large scale started in 2014. And the arrest of the people in large scale started in 2017. In the end of the 2017, I met a person, Han Chinese person, scholar from back home, directly. And he told me he attended a meeting, a secret meeting for Han Chinese. And in that meeting, the leader mentioned that in 2017 alone, by October 2017, the Chinese government arrested more than 800,000 people in 10 months, more than 800,000. Right after that, I contacted Human Rights Watch and talked to a researcher. We had many communications. And in January of 2018, the Human Rights Watch published a report. In that report, they mentioned 800,000 Uyghurs were detained, and possibly up to 1 million. So the Western media, Western governments, and they have been using this more than 1 million, this phrase since then. But that phrase is more than 4 years old now. Since then, the number of the concentration camps doubled, tripled. And China is still arresting people. Just July of this year, last month, in Urumqi alone, China arrested more than 100 Uyghurs. So the arrest is still happening. The number I got from two high-level police officials in East Turkestan, in Chinese they call Xinjiang Police Unit, is about 9 million Uyghurs have been disappeared from the Uyghur society since 2014, 9 million. Among them, 1.8 million transferred from camps to jails. If you listen to the stories, how it was done, it is crazy. Like each concentration camp given quota to transfer people from concentration camps to jails, like 500 people per day. And they have lookup table, and they give the jail sentence based on the lookup table. For example, if you could say Islamic word like Allahu Akbar, Assalamu alaikum, this kind of thing, 3 years. If you pray 5 times a day, like 17 years, something like that. They made a lookup table and arrested people like that, transferred people from concentration camp to jails. They moved 2.1 million Uyghur people from East Turkestan to other part of China, Han provinces. And not to keep them alive. Imagine if you want to keep the 2.1 million Uyghur people alive, you don't transfer them from East Turkestan to other part of China. You just kill them. And that's how it was done in the history in the other part of the world. But China learned a very good lesson during executing the Falun Gong practitioners starting 1999 in the era of Jiang Zemin. Jiang Zemin ordered to kill about 2 million Falun Gong practitioners, and they gave the job to Chinese military. The Chinese military, instead of killing them, they developed the organ harvesting organ sale business. It's a very huge business in China. If you contact some Chinese hospital, they can find a match to you within 1 to 2 weeks. And you can do the operation, everything within a month. So that's fast. So the 2.1 million Uyghurs, they were moved to other part of China. Some of them let them die, perish in the jail. But most of them are used for bioweapon developments. China has very large bioweapon development programs. China signs all the treaties, international treaties, but they violate every one of them. They don't care about how the world thinks. Just think about the WTO and the other international organizations like the United Nations, for example. And also, China is selling Uyghurs' living organs as a halal organ. Google halal organ to see what you find. 2 years ago, in the year of 2000 or 2000 or 2019, I got an information from the Chinese central government that they're transferring 500 Uyghurs per day from Shanghai to Saudi Arabia. Some of them is organs, some of them live people. At that time, I didn't know how it was done. But later on, the people discovered a prison in Dubai, Chinese underground prison in Dubai. And the one Chinese who were detained there came out and spoke about it. And after I heard that, I just guessed that the Chinese government has underground operation, organ sales operation in Arabic countries. They do this business with the rich Arabs, basically. So 2.1 million gone. These 2.1 million Uyghurs are very faithful Muslims. That's the first group that Chinese government got rid of because they knew they cannot change those people. Doesn't matter if they do brainwashing and not anything, these people don't change. These are the people who say everything good comes from Allah, and they believe in the other life, next life, Jannah, everything. So Chinese couldn't change them. They couldn't assimilate them. So they are the first group of Uyghur people. And also more than 1 million people died since 2014. Dying China uses a very smart way to do that. I call them distributed mass murdering. The reason is, unlike the era of Nazi Germany, Holocaust, and in Yugoslavia, at that time they just took many hundred, many thousand people and shoot them to death and bury them. China does not do that. China uses Uyghurs as much as they can. I only mentioned two of them to you so far: bioweapon development and the organ sales. China's largest brain research, the human behavior research facilities are all located in East Turkestan, even today. They have 3 big hospitals, military research hospitals in East Turkestan. And also, the Uyghur Project Foundation founded some people to gather information about forced labor factories in East Turkestan. And we got it in Chinese and translated into English, and we put in our website, uigurinfo.org. There's a website, uigurinfo.org, operated by Uyghur Project Foundation. In that list, there are more than 14,000 factories in East Turkestan alone. Look at the number, 14,000. If each factory employs 100 Uyghurs, there should be 1.4 million. If each factory employs 200 people, it should be 2.8 million. These numbers are astonishing for many people, very surprising, and it's unbelievable. But I believe them. The reason is, I talk to people who come from the area. The Uyghur society, as we know it, is gone. The Uyghurs, as it is known before 2017, gone. The farmlands, countrysides, cities, empty of Uyghurs now. Now, so the police, the number I got from the police is 9 million Uyghurs disappeared. And many people don't know one fact, which is the population number is a political thing in China. The Chinese government never tells the true numbers. Doesn't matter, even the Han Chinese, they hide it. They engineer the number and publish it as it making it beneficial to rule the people. And the Uyghur population, China so far said, like after 2015, they said there are 11.3 million Uyghurs in East Turkestan. At one point in the year 2000, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson at a briefing said, right now there are 12.7 million Uyghurs. In 2018, Al Jazeera TV had an interview program with Nuri Turkel. He is the chairman now at the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. He took this role very recently. And the other one is Victor Gao. He is the chairman of a Chinese central government think tank. I can send you the video if you are interested. And in that video, Victor Gao says, quote, altogether, there are 6 or 7 million Uyghurs in Xinjiang, end of quote. I was watching the program at the time. When I heard that number, I jumped. This happened in September of 2018. I jumped from my seat. I said, Chinese government will kill the rest of the Uyghur, only allow 6 to 7 million Uyghurs live. This goal is very close to be completed now. They are going in that direction. If I just add the 1.8 million that transferred from the camps to jails, 2.1 million transferred from camps to other part of China, 1 million died, and the forced labor workers, Uyghur workers, if you add them up, it's easily exceed 9 million. Now, China says 11.3 million people. If 9 million is gone, only 2.3 left. It's not like that. The Uyghur population number that has been published by Chinese government is fake. There is a video in which the retired US Army Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson speaks in Hudson Institute in DC in 2018. He took very high role, like a advisor to president, or even at CIA, very high profile person. In that speech, he says, there are about 20 million Uyghurs in Xinjiang. I believe this number because I did some calculation myself based on the published natural growth rate in China. And also I talked to many high-level intellectuals. How many Uyghurs are there in Xinjiang, in East Turkestan? The number I got is 20 million. US gets this kind of number very accurately because it's used for strategic planning. For US, there's no any benefit to change the number of the Uyghur population. So the 20 million, the 9 million disappeared from the Uyghur society. The people in the jail, in the concentration camp, and in the forced labor factories, the condition is extremely harsh. One time, one police delegate came abroad, among which my friend had a friend, and he asked me what question he should ask. I said, ask them the condition of the concentration camps. You have never seen the video or picture of the concentration camps. There's a report by Peter Winter. If you read that report, one high-level police officer who came from the other part to East Turkestan to help, when he went to a concentration camp, he went through 3 checkpoints. In the first checkpoint, he was naked and searched. No iPhone, no camera, nothing is allowed inside the concentration camp. And the police, the guards, they could only talk to each other with walkie-talkie. And they were not allowed to talk inside the cell when they were with the detained people. So that policeman that my friend asked about the condition of the concentration camp, he said, assume there's a hell on the earth. This is a Han Chinese police, by the way. Assume there was a hell on the earth. The condition in the concentration camp is at least 100 times worse than the hell. If you live in a condition like that, how do you survive? You have several survivors. They came out and they spoke to the world what they saw. The Mikhail Tursun, she lives in DC right now. She gave many presentations. She stayed in concentration camps 9 months in 3 different cells. In the last cell, she stayed 3 months. There were 59 people when she went in. And at the end of 3 months, the number became 67. But she witnessed 9 deaths. Divide the 9 deaths to 67 people and the 3 months. Calculate the rate of the death. Several 100,000 people in a day. It may not happen all the time, but there was a period that China killed Uyghur people that way in a very fast pace. And even today, I constantly get news. Some people got released and they died within the 10 days. I had a good brother, friend, who studied at Cal State Northridge, no, Casted Hayward, when I was working in Silicon Valley. We were very good each other. We invite each other to homes. We had very good relationship. He studied in the US from 2000 to 2005, got 2 MBA degrees. His dad is the richest Uyghur in East Turkestan, billionaire. But his dad asked him to come back and serve his own people. He went back. He was detained in 2018, January of 2018. He was released in October of the same year, but died 9 days later. He was rushed to the hospital, but died on the way. Internal bleeding. I get this kind of story all the time. The people released but died within the 10 days. So when the police find out that somebody is going to die, they release some people. Only the people that there are some strong people behind them, like his dad, he's a very well-known salesperson. He was released, but many people not released. And they say, your son died, we buried them. They even don't show their body. Like even the people, sometimes they send home the dead body, but they don't allow the parents to see the body. They just, the dead body guarded by the police and go to the cemetery and they bury it. So anyway, the situation is much, much worse than what the world knows. As I said earlier, the 1 million, this number, more than 1 million people detained came in early 2017 in the media, but people still using that. The reality, the Uyghurs, as it is known before 2017, gone. Nothing about Uyghurs left right now. There are 100 people that detained last month in Urumqi. Do you know who they are? They are sympathizer to the people who were detained before. Sympathizer, not a criminal. In addition to that, more than 800 kids, Uyghur kids, were separated from parents. They were in the boarding school, or recently I'm getting pictures that the kids were trained by military, dressed up with military uniform as well. Kids, 4, 5, 6 years old kids, wearing military uniform and being taken care of by Chinese military. And my immediate reaction to that is these kids will become KGB-like international spy agents. Uyghur people look like Europeans. You can find all kinds of people, different looking people. And also the Chinese government installed more than 1 million Han Chinese to Uyghur families to make sure that they don't pray and they don't live in Uyghur custom, Uyghur culture. And they stopped the natural birth. They stopped the natural birth, so we don't give birth anymore to kids. It stopped completely. And I think you have heard some news about that. So that's the current situation. Just a moment. I'm very sorry. Just a moment. I come back in 1 minute.
So, in the meantime, Dr. Walji, what do you make of what is being described here? Your short comments before
right now, I'm going to tell you why that happened. So now I'm going to tell you why that happens. So there are 7 major regions that why China decided to eradicate the Uyghur people. The one big lesson they learned is from the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union kept minority races intact. So that's part of the reason that the Soviet Union collapsed in 1990. So this is the number one lesson Chinese learned, that they cannot leave native people, different races alive. That's a danger. One day it may split the China and become independent. That's number one. Number two, you have heard the Belt Road projects China initiated. They have 3 major land routes for this project. One of them starts from Xi'an and passes through East Turkestan. Other two starts in East Turkestan. One goes to Pakistan, the Gwadar port, and other one goes through Central Asia and go to Europe. So for this project to be successful, China needed a very stable environment. And the Uyghurs have been always a headache to Chinese government. As I said earlier, they tried almost 70 years to assimilate Uyghur people, but they couldn't. And the strong factor is the Islamic religion. So this is number two reason, Belt and Road Initiative, the needs of this initiative. Number three is about Chinese government's concern about war between the US and China. The China's National Defense University has a professor, Dai Xu, his name is Dai Xu. He did a field survey in East Turkestan from 2009 to 2011, 2 years. He went to all the parts of East Turkestan. And after he came back, he gave a report in Beijing.
I think, brother, I think we need to wrap it up, and we need to have some time for questions. Yeah.
Okay. Number three is the concern about the war. So that person says, if one day US and China go to war, China can easily arm 300 to 500 Uyghur young men, and this man will fight with the US troops against China. And he said, I will use all of my power to solve this problem. So what they doing right now is the solution of the problem. Number four, the China needs land and the resources, but not people. So the Uyghur people is a headache basically that they don't want. Number five is the opportunity. China became very strong. And as you can see now, the China eradicated the Uyghur people, get the job done, but they haven't seen any effective means to stop it. Nothing happened to Uyghur people. No single investigation. Then there are two most historical reasons. One is nature of the Han people. The Han people's culture is very different. The Chinese government is a civilization state, not a nation state. This is a big topic. Let me don't get into that. Basically, Chinese people cannot live with other people. To survive in China, you have to become China or you have to be gone. And I can show you videos that they say in the classroom about that. And number seven is the Chinese rulers' characters. They can kill. They can do mass killing. If you look at Chinese history, you see this all the time. The last one is the Chinese during the Chinese Cultural Revolution from 1965 to 1975. Mao Zedong killed between 20 to 60 million people in 10 years. They can do this very easily without any hesitation. China gave quota to kill people in those 10 years. So these are the reason. And so the Uyghurs in China, there are several major minority groups still, minority races. Uyghurs, Tibetans, and Mongols. Mongols are gone. If you read Chinese government's official propaganda, they say there are 56 minority races in China. They're all gone. They don't exist. Only the ones that exist right now is the major ones are the Uyghur and the Tibetans. And so they are after us. And this is the main reason that China doing what it is doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Erkin. Before I asked Brother Abdul Muttalib to say a few words, I would ask Dr. Walji, how does he view what is happening in China, and what do you think is the cause of the apathy of Muslims towards the Chinese and Uyghur Muslims' plight in China?
Indeed, to call this, and thank you for that very impassioned exposition of what's going on. It truly is overwhelming to even listen to it. So can you imagine what the people out there are going through? What was also very touching and heartbreaking was the fact that they chose those who were far more religious inclined to actually eliminate those that, these are, I would consider as martyrs in the cause of faith because they gave their life and they were willing to sacrifice themselves in the spirit that we are discussing this today, in the spirit of Muharram and Imam Hussein, who was willing to give up his life for a principle. Having said that, to really call this a genocide or a cultural genocide does not adequately describe what you have stated in terms of what's happening out there. It's also jarring to actually note that the organs are being sold and bought by Muslims. Dr. Aslam, you're asking me, what are the Muslim countries doing? If there are shops and centers in Dubai and other places where the rich Arabs can buy these organs, what can one expect from these governments or these people as to what is happening? The answer is very clear, that they do not care, they have nothing. My question would be, what is the world community in terms of Amnesty International, Human Rights Commission? I believe that there is also a tribunal in the UK, which recently also has considered this. So that was one question. And the other question was, I think you alluded to it, but some clarity would help, that the other Muslim groups, apart from the Uyghurs, what is their state, and are they next in line? What is the kind of your forecast on that?
Yeah, before I request Dr. Erkin to respond to those two issues that you have raised, can I ask Brother Abdul Muttalib to say a few words, if he wants to add anything or he wants to pass it on to Dr. Erkin?
Assalamu alaikum. Sure, I can add like two issues very quickly on top of what Brother Erkin mentioned. One is that in 3 months ago, there was a police file revealed, Chinese police files revealed. It's about 2017 and 2018 police files, and it includes 2,800 of the detainees information. So those are like this leaked document contains speech transcript, training materials, official orders, and information about this 2,800 detainees. So the very heartbreaking fact about this is that detainees, the youngest one, 15 years old girl, and oldest 73 years old woman. And it's very, looking at this pictures one by one is really very overwhelming and heartbreaking experience. And one of the most stunning aspects of this police files, the Xinjiang police file they called in the press, that it it happened during the days that UN Human Rights Commissioner Michelle Bachelet visiting that Uyghur homeland, and she also held a press conference in Beijing. And about this one, she just said that what she found is unduly severe restriction on religion. That's all she said. She didn't mention about genocide. She didn't mention about this suffering of Uyghur Muslims. That's one thing I want to mention. And second one is that Brother Erkin also touched upon it, but I want to emphasize it again. While millions of people killed and put in the concentration camps, the hundreds of thousands of children, their kids, have been forcibly moved into the state-run orphanage and boarding school, where they are indoctrinated to renounce their ethnic and religious identities and praise the CCP instead of praising Allah. So the 2019 report says that there's at least 880,000 children had been placed in boarding schools, and the number, I think, definitely will beyond the millions by now. Yeah, that's another aspect that the key people didn't realize, not seeing. We heard about people being killed, being put in the concentration camp, but the families are separated and the kids also victims of this genocide. Thank you. That's what
Thank you very much, Brother Abdul Muttalib. Dr. Erkin, you heard Dr. Walji raise two issues pertaining to genocide. Your
Yes.
comments on that, and then before we move any further.
Okay. The first question about what the world community did about the Uyghur genocide. Earlier, I mentioned that nothing effective has been done. The UN is useless. There was one report completed in the UN Human Rights High Commissioner in September of 2021, last year. It hasn't been published yet. I don't know if you heard it or not, and even China right now are putting pressure not to publish it. That the report is about Uyghurs' human rights situation. This is the UN. UN is useless. And the European Parliament, they are working hard on some fronts, but nothing substantial has been taken. The many European countries still have very good relationship with China, economic relationship, so they are not doing anything. And the Muslim world and the Turkic world did the opposite. They have been standing with China. Not only they are, okay, the Islam we learned is that when one oppressor oppresses Muslims, other Muslims should stand with Muslims and fight against the oppressor. We have been seeing the opposite, and this very seriously damaged Islamic world's credibility and reputation, because other people are watching. What you stand for? What Islamic principle? Do you have any principle or not? Right now, the people who are shouting loudly and trying to help the most are the Christians, Christian countries. The Muslim countries not only don't mention to help us, but they even don't bother to keep silent, but praising China. I just posted one report yesterday on my Twitter account, which says one Muslim envoys went to Xinjiang and praised CCP China, how well they did the work, kind of things. This is the situation we are seeing right now, and the China taking advantage of that, and the Uyghur people are alone in this regard in the Muslim world. Nobody took any real action, or even don't say condemn, even they don't keep silent, but praising China all along. This is the situation. And this is a huge loss to the Islam, to the Islamic world. I don't know how I describe this. I cry in my heart every day. I have 3 siblings back home. I have several hundred relatives. I don't know how many alive, how many dead. And this 20 million Muslims, maybe not that big number to other part of the Muslim world, but it is everything for us. I told you just one this. My middle teacher, literature teacher, he died in a concentration camp at the age 78. And there was another person whose name is Erkin Sidik. Because his name is Erkin Sidik, he was killed too. The police mistaken him with me. And the other people explained that he's not Erkin Sidik in NASA in America, but they still killed him, tortured him to death. This is the situation. I don't know what else I can say. The whole Uyghur nation are crying helplessly. This is our situation right now. And as to the other Muslim, who is the major Muslims in China's government's statistics, the Hui Muslims have about 15 million population, 15 million population, and Uyghurs 11 million. The Hui population are distributed all over the China. They don't have their own land, and so they don't have any issue about independence. So the China didn't touch them until very recently, but now they are demolishing the mosques as well, and forbidding the Huis from practicing Islam. China is after them also right now. That's the situation.
You know, everyone who has a conscience, everyone who has a throbbing heart, certainly feel the pain and sufferings of the Uyghurs, and certainly the average ordinary Muslims all over the world. At least they have in their prayers the Uyghur people and their welfare and well-being. But prayers alone would not resolve the issue. Certain actions need to be taken. And in that particular respect, you know, Dr. Erkin, that the Muslim community in the United States is growing. There are approximately more than 3 million Muslims, and they come from different ethnicities and different cultures. What do you think that this Muslim community should do to raise the awareness within its own community and amongst others about the Uyghurs? Because I rarely hear people talking about Uyghur plight and Uyghur Muslims in public forums and in other places. Only on special occasions you hear about them, but unless there is a public awareness, things are not going to change. And before you respond to that, Dr. Balji, what do you think the Muslim coming from the Shia and the Sunni community do to raise this kind of issue, even in the context of the sacrifice of Muhammad?
Indeed. This is a matter that each of us, we need to take this up and ensure, like we're doing right now at IslamiCity, that this message is carried so that we hold our Muslim leaders in the United States accountable to make sure that this issue also becomes a major issue of discussion in the Muslim communities. This is a start, and I do believe that it's better late than never that IslamiCity can take a leading role in terms of promoting the Uyghur issue over to the rest of the Muslims. As I say that, you know, if nobody does it, we have to do it. And now that the impassioned plea that has been put to us, I believe, Dr. Aslam, it makes us responsible and accountable. And we're going to have some sleepless nights, believe you me, just thinking about this, because we have heard several marginalized communities and their plight. What I have heard today is overwhelming for me personally. And I think we need to girdle our loins and do something about it, Dr. Aslam. And in fact, under your leadership, I think we need to push this agenda as much as we possibly can. To expect others to do something, we don't know. But that's the least that we can do.
Dr. Erkin, your comments and your suggestions as to what needs to be done by Muslims?
Yeah, before that, let me just mention two things very quickly, because it's very important. In the past, like in the US, one person burned one Quran, I think it's in New York, and the Muslims stood to the street, protesting against that. And
that was in Florida.
Europe,
yes.
Yeah, one person in Europe drew Muhammad Al-Islam's picture, and the people in Europe, the Muslims in Europe also went to the street to demonstrate. You see, one of the camp survivor recently during the Uyghur tribunal testified that the guard threw Quran into a bucket used as a toilet inside the concentration camp, and forced the camp detainees to poop on it. That lady is alive. She's in the US. And I haven't posted this on the Twitter. And China right now saying, cynicizing the Islam.
I think you are muted.
Sorry. Oh, I'm very sorry. I don't know when it happened.
Right.
So very quickly, let me mention two things. One is one lady testified in during the Uyghur tribunal.
No, we already heard that, Brother Erkin. We already heard that.
Yes. Okay. So the second part is that China is trying to produce a new version of Islam, and they are talking about cynicizing the Islam religion. The whole Muslim world should stand up now and say something, saying it's not allowed. Islam does not have different version. It has only one version. You're not allowed to change it. But the world is okay with that. Just yesterday, Islamic countries invoice senior diplomats visit China's Xinjiang and praise the Chinese government. What's happening? What's happening to the Muslim world? Anyway, The US is leading the world in helping the Uyghur issue to stop Uyghur genocide. And I hope the US Muslim communities join the US government to support this. I watched a video about a month ago from an imam in the US. He's a very, he has many tens of thousands of followers, and he says the Uyghur genocide is a scam made up by CIA. It does not exist. That imam is in the US. And I don't know what to do when I see that. I met several imams. I'm a very good friend with Abdul Malik, Dr. Abdul Malik, and I am available to go anywhere to speak. If you need help, I can always be available. I can travel, give presentations. So I'm always available for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you said it rightly, that if the US government is involved in this issue, then the Muslims must strengthen the voice of the United States and must raise the issue within their masajid, within their local communities, and within the interfaith communities. And certainly this crime that is being committed by the communist China should not be taken silently. It is the obligation of Muslims. And I think, once Dr. Walji, we get over this series on the oppressed people and we finish all the formalities of the Muharram, we would definitely invite people from different regions and different areas to at least through Zoom talk about a national strategy of Muslims under the leadership of the Uyghur community to take this one up, because we can no longer remain silent on this or any other issue if we really believe in the true meanings of sacrifice, if we truly believe in the true meanings of justice and peace, because we have the example before us, and we have a grandson of the Prophet who offered his family, not for his glory, but for the survival of all those who crave for justice, who crave for dignity. And certainly when any one of us is deprived of that dignity, all of us are deprived of that dignity, and it becomes a religious responsibility on our part to come up with a national and international strategy to be with the Uyghurs under their leadership, so that tomorrow, to our own conscience, we can say that when we were being asked to stand for justice, we were not silent. We did something, and we did it under the leadership of those who were the ones who were suffering. With that, I think we are coming close to our conclusion. Brother Abdul Muttalib, do you want to add anything? Brother Erkin, do you want to add anything? If not, then Dr. Walji, if you would like to add anything. If not, then Brother Abdul Muttalib will make the concluding dua, and then we will, inshallah, we make that kind of promise to you that this is not the only forum that we are having on the issue of Uyghurs. There will be many more forums in the coming days, and we will do whatever it takes to raise this issue and to make it part of the Muslim conscience in our masajid, in our Islamic centers, in our communities, and through the interfaith forums.
Just one sentence. As you mentioned at the beginning, I am the president of Uyghur Projects Foundation. Right now, the Uyghurness is gone in East Turkestan, in Uyghur homeland, and the Uyghur community abroad trying to protect or keep the Uyghur language and the culture abroad. Uyghur Projects Foundation's main goal is that. We have only about 100,000 Uyghurs outside China, also outside Central Asia. So we need your help. If you could help us, we can keep our work going. Thank you.
Brother Abdul Muttalib, anything you want to add?
No, I think thank Jazakumullah khair, and it's a great honor to be here today. Yeah, it's a great night. May Allah bless everyone and your family. Thank you. Thank you for inviting
Thank you.
us.
And Dr. Balji, your final words before I ask Brother
Thank
Abdul
you.
Muttalib to make the dua.
Yes, thank you. As you know, that Monday is the day of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram. And for the last 10 days, I've been speaking here in Queens and another center. The work begins tomorrow. Inshallah, I have one more opportunity to address the congregation in Queens in New York at one of the largest centers, which is the Al-Khoi Center. And also tomorrow I have an opportunity to address a julus, a procession in Manhattan. And I will most certainly bring up this plight, and whatever little time that's been available, I will use part of it to heighten the cause of the Uyghur people. That's where the work starts, at least on a personal basis.
Thank you so much. It means
Thank you very
a lot
much,
to
Brother
us.
Abdul Muttalib. Please go ahead with the dua. And we would definitely like to hear the dua, first few sentences in your language, Uyghur. And then, of course, you can say it in Arabic or in English, whatever, but we would like to hear it in Uyghur also.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin wal aqibatul muttaqin wa salatu wa salat ala Sayyidina Muhammad ashabil ajmain. Allah bizning vatanimizdagi qarindoshlarimiz o'z panohida saqlagan, jafo chekayotgan, azob ichida qilayotgan qarindoshlarimizni ozodlikqa erishtirgan, duolarimizni qabul qilgan, gunohlarimizni afv etgan. May Allah bless who are suffering across the world. May Allah have mercy on the oppressed, the ones in tribulation, the ones that innocent victims of the genocide, the Uyghur Muslims, the Rohingyas, the Syrians, Yemenis, Kashmir Muslims, Palestinians, anywhere that people are suffering and need for help, need for dua. May Allah bless them all, hear them and accept them duas, make their trial easy. May Allah grant them freedom. May Allah unite the families. May Allah bless the brothers and sisters today joined us. May bless their family, their kids. Jazakumullah khair. Ameen. Allahu Akbar.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow we have discussion on Rohingyas and the attempted genocide against Muslims. We realize that we did not cover all the oppressed communities of the world, let alone the Muslim communities. We did not cover the Kashmir. We did not cover the Syrians. We did not cover Afghans. And we did not cover many of those communities like Berbers and the North African tribes and all other things. That does not mean that we ignored them. What it means that we had the limited resources and we used to the best of our capacity to make sure that at least we make the beginning. But this series would continue even after the passage of Muharram, because the suffering have been going on for the last several thousand years. And on top of the list are the issues that, one of the issues that was brought up today. And we pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we would not remain silent on the sufferings of the Uyghurs. They are our brothers. We are from them, they are from us. And definitely we would work together to ensure that whatever we could help save, we would do our best in that respect. You should not feel that you are alone, Brother Abdul Muttalib and Brother Erkin. Dr. Balji's community, which is a worldwide community of Khojas, is with you. IslamiCity's over 1 million viewers are with you on this particular issue. And the Muslims in general, those who are powerless people, they are with you. And inshallah, one day together we will make the change in the conditions of those people who have been part of this suffering and oppressed communities. With that, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much once again, Brother Erkin and Brother Abdul Muttalib, for your valuable time, and we feel honored by your presence. Dr. Balji, anything else?
Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.